Morning all, it's the Saints man here, small van driver on the CX. Happy St George's Day. Yeah, it's Sunday, it's 9 o'clock in the morning actually. I'm doing it while it's quiet. The house is quiet, it's just me. Even the wife's working at the moment and she's not home until later on today. So, I had a few beers last night, not gonna lie. But yeah, feel alright actually. And we had a good week. Last week was a really good week. Title of the video is A Night to Remember. Or not remember, but I'll come to that. That's Wednesday. We'll start. Fuel prices last week. My cheapest fuel pre-VAT was 114.1. That was in my UK fast fuel card, and that got me to 136.93. So 137, which is still pretty good because fuel diesel is still way higher than that, 20 pence plus. You can get it somewhere cheaper, but it's still a good saving. So Monday, I haven't got nothing booked in, which is very rare on a Monday. I normally try to get something booked in, but I didn't. But I did pick a job up still quite early. I had to go to Milton Keynes. It was Milton Keynes to Huntingdon, just a small box, and it was good money. Milton Keynes, it's funny, I've been doing this job 2.5 years, and I've always thought Milton Keynes, God, there's hundreds of drivers, and you're never going to get your work out there. And I live in Northampton, but I live the Milton Keynes side of Northampton, if that makes sense. I can actually be in Milton Keynes in 15 miles. So it ain't that far. It looks further, but I do use the back roads and I get to Milton Keynes quite quick. So I've come to realise this year actually, when there ain't been a lot of work, I've quoted on Milton Keynes work and thought, why haven't I done this earlier? Because there is there's it's not too far away. Anyway, got the job to Huntingdon, which no problem, easy enough. One box, dropped it off, and Huntingdon can be a good area. It's a good place to be, I think. And I did. I picked a job up out of Alconbury, the airfield at Alconbury to Thetford. Uh, it's for a shipper, and phoned up and got the job. Very happy with that. And the shipper was in Thetford. It was taking it back to his place, and then I got a job from that shipper. It took me a while to find this place in Alconbury airfield. I'm not going to lie. It's an absolute. It's huge. It's a huge airfield. But we got the job and put it on board, and it was only five small pieces. It went over to Thetford, and as I got there, he said, "I've got another job if you're interested from Wymondon, or is that he say it near Norwich, and going to Coventry, which is great because it gets me back to where not far from home." So yeah, pick that one up as well. So Monday was a good day. Um, yeah, so I didn't start early, as in early for me, and still a good day over target. So happy with that. Moved on to Tuesday. I had got a job booked in, and it was to Ipswich from Northampton, and it was a 8:30 start pickup in Northampton. Now Ipswich, I've had some shite, shite luck. I've drove back from Ipswich, I think twice, and not got a job until I've got right back to Huntingdon and picked up a little job. It's just an area I just don't seem very lucky in, and it should be okay because Colchester's not too far away. So Ipswich, Colchester, around there, there's not many drivers. Well, this time it wasn't too bad. There was a job from 7 miles the other side of Ipswich in a village, and again it was on a farm. You'll find lots of farms now. There's little business units in them. They're diversifying into letting businesses run their small enterprises from there. And I picked one box up to go to Bishop Stortford, which I normally think is the airport at Stansted, but it wasn't. It was actually Bishop Stortford itself. Got good money on it, and that got me to Bishop Stortford, which is normally a really much better area. And it was the complete opposite. Whereas Ipswich, there was two or three jobs. I got one, and in Bishop Stortford, I sat there for about an hour and a half, nothing. And jobs were all going to London, and I didn't want to quote on them because I didn't really fancy going to London. And I just thought, Jesus, how can you not get a job? So I decided I'm going to start driving home. And the quickest route for me is cross country. Brings you out, you go right across an angle up to Bedford. And I got up to the A1 and a job popped up from St Neots to Biggleswade. And I wasn't quite at Biggleswade, and St Neots is further up the A1. and I quoted quite keenly on it, quite keenly, quite high on it because it was getting on, and my minimum I quoted slightly above, and I got it, and it was a pallet, air conditioning stuff on a pallet, and yeah, I got a phone call. I'd quoted on the job quite a while before I got it, but I got it and picked it up from a pallet network. Uh, Easy peasy actually. It was just one, but straight in the back of the van and down to Biggleswade, right on the A1 as well. So that topped my money up nicely. That was okay. So that was Tuesday. And while I've been waiting, the job had popped up for Wednesday. While I was waiting at Bishop Stortford, the job popped up. Northampton, 2 drops in Birmingham. I've done this job a few times. This is the start of my Wednesday, which I made a bit of a faux pas, a balls up, because the Northampton pickup was first drop. I picked up at 8:15. First drop was in centre of Birmingham, which was an ASAP. The second drop was in Coleshill, and it was down for 12 o'clock, which is rubbish because I knew I was going to be there at 10:15, 10:30. Got a reference, booking reference. But I'd done it before this job, and I managed to get in about 20 past 11. They let me in. Well, this time I obviously picked the stuff up, did the first drop in the middle of Birmingham, absolutely no problem. Across, and I was there at 10 past 10, so I was nearly 2 hours early. But I thought, chance me arm, and it was great. I've been there once before, and if they've got room, they'll get you in because they want to get in as quick as possible, get it all processed, because it's just okay. Small van. If I'd have been a big van, they wouldn't have let me in. If been a Sprinter or something like that, but they did. And there was 14 loose boxes, which I said I'll get the pallet, put them on a pallet, and they were great. So that could have been a complete balls up, but it meant that I wasn't having to wait an hour and a half, when jobs around Birmingham are pinging away, getting frustrated. So luckily I got away with it. But check the notes. Check the notes. Anyway, so happened I picked a job up. I picked a job up out of Colville, and it was going to one drop Market Harbour, and I was quite a distance from it. I was 20 mile from it, just under 20 mile. I quoted that in the price and got the job, and it was picking up windscreen, and off we went to Colville. And just before we got to Colville, the shipper phoned, and yeah, you get that dreaded feeling this is going to be cancelled. No, it wasn't. She said, "There's a second windscreen. Would you like to do that as well?" And I said, "Yeah, can do," because I've got nothing else planned afterwards, and I could do whatever. And she said the second one is actually down to Bournemouth. So from doing a little job to Market Harbour, I was now doing the Market Harbour and then Bournemouth. So that made that a really good day. And I thought, well, I'm going to be down in Bournemouth. I'm going to be staying down there. It's going to be 5 o'clock when I got to Bournemouth. That's what I'll be doing. So yeah, picked the windscreens up, delivered the one in Market Harbour. He was waiting for it. I phoned him before, and he'd broke one. He broke the first one he got, so this was a replacement. So he was quite keen to get it, and then started making my way to Bournemouth. And I phoned the fitter. I'd already phoned the shipper and said this is my ETA. She said fine. She will let the customer know. I phoned the fitter, told him I was going to be there about 4:45 to 5 o'clock, and he said that's fine. He says you may be having to bring it to my house. He says because I won't have enough time to fit it in. It'll be over my time, but he'll let me know. And sure enough, he phoned back about an hour later, and I was about 50 miles from it. I was just going past Newbury, somewhere like that, a bit further perhaps. And he says, "Yeah, can you bring it to this address instead? It's my house." He said, "Because this ain't going to get done today." He said, "It's just that I'll have the windscreen. I'm going to do it tomorrow." I said, "Yep, that's fine." He gave me the postcode, the number of the house. I phoned the shipper to let her know. She said, "Yep, that's fine. It happens. It's not your fault." So that's what's going to happen. And then what he said, "Well, don't hurry yourself. Don't kill yourself getting here." He says, "Because I'm going to be here from 5 onwards anyway. I mean, all night." So he said, "Unless you're in a rush." I said, "No, that's fine." So as I got closer, there was a jobs popping up. Believe it or not, it was like 20, 4:15. And I wasn't far away. I was about half hour away, and jobs started popping up out of Wimborne, which is Not far. It's about 4 miles from where I was going, and it was for the delivery next morning, which suited me. And there was single boxes, and it was all car jobs. So I thought I could get one of these, and I quoted on. There was 4, 5 jobs. I quoted on all 5, and the one I got, the others I didn't get. I did. There was I quoted quite high. I quoted high, thinking if I'm going to do them, I'll quote high and hopefully get one. And I got one delivered to Plymouth the next morning. So it said before 5. So I went and picked it up because it was on the way to where I was going. It was about a mile out my way. And because the fitter was quite happy, he said, just bring it any time. He says, it's going to be done tomorrow afternoon. I'd already phoned the shipper and says he's quite flexible. She says, no, as long as you get it there, that's fine. So I went and picked this box up. So I got a job for the next morning in Plymouth. It got to be there at 9 o'clock in Plymouth. Lovely cup of tea. So I took the windscreen off. I got the box on board, and I thought, great. I won't drive straight to Plymouth. It was like a lot of traffic still. I thought I was going to hang around Poole for a couple of hours and going to find a leisure centre, do a bit of swimming, get some food, blah blah, and then I would travel to Plymouth. It was a 2 hour drive, and then be there for the morning. Get there later at night and tramp in a van. And that didn't materialise because there was a job out of Poole again. It said car, 1 box. And I only got 1 box on the back for the next morning, and it was ASAP to Bristol. So Wednesday became a real monster. I quoted high on this job because there weren't. I thought there's going to be no drivers want this, and I got it. So I quoted what I thought it was worth, me doing it for. So I picked this box up in Poole, just up the road, and it was 1 box going to a residential in Bristol, residential address. What a beautiful drive that is. Poole to Bristol, cross country. Going to the left of Bath, like to the west of Bath. Oh, stunning drive. Stunning drive. Be better on a motorbike, but you can't have everything, can you? And then we got to Bristol, delivered that at 7:45 at night. And then I jumped on put my postcode in for Plymouth, and we started going down the M5. I decided, well, obviously going to tramp in the van because I weren't going to get to Plymouth till about 11 o'clock. I thought, what I'll do, I'll go and get a shower. So I went and got a shower in Gordana Services. Not too bad, the showers there. They got 3 showers for men. I don't know what it is for women, obviously. So I had a shower, freshened myself up, and I change out my work gear, and then I'm into my sleeping bag gear, shorts, and t-shirt. And I set the back of the van up. I got my camp bed for the first time. This is our old camp bed we've had for years, but it fits in this van because this van's longer. So I weren't sleeping on the floors on my camp bed, and it's all set up. And I found a park for night in Ivy Bridge, and it was a really good park for night at the leisure centre. It's at night. The car park's completely empty, and I got there about 11, 20 to 12, and that was me ready. 7 miles from my delivery point the next morning. I thought, brilliant. So straight to bed, jumped in my sleeping bag on the camp bed. Lovely. And the back of my van, it's got the bulkhead in, full bulkhead. It hasn't now because we took half of it out yesterday, but it had then. Pitch black. You cannot see that in front of you. And off to sleep I went. I must have been asleep by 12. And the night to remember started. An almighty crash, and that's all I can describe it as, almighty crash. And I thought I was being mugged because I got a whack on the back of the head, and I thought I got the van door open because my fob won't open, it won't lock the van when I'm in the back. I need to be able to get through the front, push the deadlocks. So I leave the back of the van. It's shut. The doors are shut, but it's not locked. And I thought someone had opened the van and whacked me on the back of the head. What had actually happened, when you're fast asleep, the camp bed give way. The centre of the camp bed give way. My arse went straight through. The ratchet on the centre thing had gone. Rusty had gone. The canvas ripped. My arse went through the bed, and where my head was, it reclines up in ratchets like that. Well, to get it back down, you have to go all the way back over and then put it back. I went forward. The head thing come up, smacked me straight on the back of the head, and now it's got me bent double. And all I could describe it was I was too close to me meat and 2 veg and what I should have been. I was bent double and I was trapped in the bloody camp bed. Jesus. Found the light. I've got magnetic light. I've got push button touch lights. Found the light. Turn the light on. Sure enough, it snapped the bloody camp bed. It's done us good service, and it's been outside the last 2 winters because we got nowhere to put it in the house. So that buggered that up. So I chucked that strapped it to the bulkhead, strapped it to the on the top of the wheel arch, put the blankets on the floor, and I hadn't got my memory foam mattress because I'd got my camp bed. I'd left it out the van, so I slept on the bloody floor on top of 4 blankets, a sleeping bag, and then I was in another sleeping bag. Not the best night's sleep for someone who's got a bad back. But I did sleep. Woke up and delivered next day and delivered into Plymouth on the Thursday. Wednesday had been a very profitable day. And Thursday started off with because I got good money on the one to Plymouth, and I hadn't put that money on it because I got the money to Bristol. So Thursday I started off 7 miles into Plymouth on good money, massive money. So I was well ahead. Plymouth, I was beginning to think this could be a long wait because there's not a lot comes out of Plymouth. And I waited. I went to McDonald's, grabbed a coffee and some porridge. I'm not keen on McDonald's, but I hadn't got nothing for breakfast. Didn't want bacon, sausage, or anything like that. And I thought I'd try a pot of porridge. And at 169, it was tasty. Had some jam on it. It was really tasty. So I call McDonald's a lot because I think the stuff's shite, cheap, nasty. But porridge was great. So after that, I had a brilliant night's sleep. Obviously, with the bed situation, I thought I could do with a job to get me going. I'll go and have a little stroll. I thought I parked up. I was just on the A38, just on the side of it, at McDonald's, and I thought, go and have a little stroll. And a job popped up from Plymouth to Truro, which didn't want that. I thought, well, at least it's a job, and I'll give it half an hour if it's still there. I'll perhaps take that and try and book big money on it. But I was going right into Cornwall. And then another job popped up, Plymouth to Magna Park. Right up my street. Right up my street. Really top dog. And I wanted this job. This is where the flexibility comes in. I wanted this job because Magna Park's 30 miles from my house where I lived. And I wanted to get home. So I quoted low. I'm not going to lie. I didn't quote ridiculously back road like some people do, but I quoted low. I think it worked out about 70 pence a mile, something like that. I can't remember, but I wanted the job, and true enough, I got the job, and it was taking 2 boxed up TVs, new TV. I think they were new from a residential address, 52-inch TVs, and it was a good job I got my van because the Belingo, I don't know whether they'd fitted in because they were really massive boxes they were in. They fitted in my van fine, and yep, picked them up for residential to Magna Park, going back to the distribution centre. So brilliant. Gets me to Magna Park, so I'm very happy. And it was a lovely drive. When you've got a load on, out of Cornwall, out of Devon, where there's not a lot of work, and then nothing come out of Plymouth because I kept the feed on. And it weren't until I got to Bristol that some jobs popped up. So I'd got a good job. So the risk and reward paid that day. Would I do it again? Yeah, I probably would. And when I got to Magna Park, and I thought, great, that's I can just trundle home now, have an early finish. I didn't start till obviously 8:15 because I just dropped that one in. It said 9 o'clock. I had to say 9 o'clock, and it was ready. So I thought that will do this day. So I was at Magna Park. I was doing my paperwork, and there was a job on there from Rugby to Northampton, and I knew exactly what it was. It was truck parts, and I thought I quote my minimum's 30 quid, but that's got to be a short job. But I was going past virtually where it's picking up from, and I could see on the map they give you, it was virtually I was going past both of them to get home anyway. So I still quoted minimum charge, and it was about 23 miles, and got the job. Phoned up, yeah, and it was one part, small part, and it was exactly what it was from truck part, and it was going to Northampton and delivered before 5:30, and I got it there for 20 to 5. So shipper happy, customer very happy that it was there that time, and it got me home. So that was a good day, and all that was well over target. So I've had a really good week, and it was lovely because I was in my own bed. That weren't going to collapse either. Jeez. So I'd also got a job the next morning. Um, it's a strange one. It was I read it wrong. The mileage. I got the price per the mileage. I thought it was uh, Uxbridge, and it was Uckfield. So you have driving glasses on, and you're reading something close up, and it comes up, and it was Uckfield. I was like, oh, for God's sake! But it didn't matter. The mileage was for the pence per mile was spot on, and it was taking a pallet, and it was picking up Thursday. I picked it up Thursday night on the way home. So I'd got it on the van. It wasn't a tall pallet, it was about 70 kilos, 80 kilos. So it was ready to go Friday morning. And I got to be there Friday in Uckbridge. Let's get it right. Uckfield. Bloody hell. Uckfield. It got to be there for 9 o'clock. And that's all around the M25, down past Gatwick, just sling a left just past Gatwick, down some A roads, and you're there. And yeah, got it there. Now I'm in an area now. I'm thinking this could be a problem getting out of this area because although it's Friday, foot down Friday, it's now labelled as a lot of YouTubers label it as that. I'm in an area I thought I could struggle here, could really struggle. A job came up from Worthing, which was 23 mile away, going to Coventry, which was like, wow, that's catching my imagination. You know, I could do this. So I quoted on the job, and it wasn't an e-quote, so I phoned, and he said, "Yeah, we're just waiting for the customer to come back and say it's all a goer." He says, "Can I ring you back?" Which sometimes means they got a cheaper quote and they're just letting you down gently. But he sounded legitimate, and so I said, "Yeah, no worries." So I was looking at jobs, and there was a few jobs, and then he phoned me back. He said, "It's happening." He says, "Can you make your way down there?" I said, "Yeah, I'm 35 minutes away. That's fine. 40 minutes away." Anyway, so it was great. I got there, smack on the within the hour. I got in there within the hour, pulled up, knocked on the door. It was going to be a pallet, 150 kilogram pallet. Bloke answered. I says, "Yeah, come to pick this up. I'm from I work for this company." He says, "That's gone, mate." He said, this be gone 40 minutes." And it had gone, a DX had picked it up. Don't know why, but DX picked it up. Phoned the shipper. He was bemused as I was. And even the thing was, it's gone on. We've put it on DX. It's gone on DX. And yeah, it was 40 minutes. It'd been up the road 40 minutes, but it wasn't direct delivery. So I don't know what happened. But I phoned the shipper. And to be fair, the shipper, they phoned me back within 10 minutes and really sorry, but we're as confused as you are. You know, we was told it was going now and phoned up, and somehow DX have picked it up. So something's gone wrong somewhere. I got full cancellation fee, not the full money for the job because it was quite a lot, but I got cancellation fee. But I'd done 20 odd miles, so I'd earned my cancellation fee really. And I was in Worthing, which I was further south than I wanted to be. So I was a little bit disappointed because I wanted the Coventry one. But jobs popped up. There was a couple on there. One going across to Kent, which I quoted on. I knew I wouldn't get it because I quoted high. Because I thought if I do get it, I want it at this price. And that's what I do. I quote on what I'll do it for. So it may be low on some because I want the job and it's taking me home. But if it's taking me out of my way, I'll quote a lot higher because then if I am out of my way, I've got enough money on it to get back on the money that I've put in the job. If that makes sense. And I quoted on a job, and I did check the times. It was like 10:15, and there was a job 7 miles away. It said 15 minutes on the thing, but it weren't picking up till 12, and it was going up to Slough, which is the airport. It's all around Heathrow, but it was Slough. In fact, it was Colnbrook, which everyone knows is where all the freight forwarders are for Heathrow. And it was picking up one box, and it got the reference number and everything. So I decided, you know what, that gets me to Slough, and I'm 65, 70 mile from home. I thought if I don't get anything else, that'll do. I've had a really good week, and I quoted on the job high because I thought no one's going to want to quote on this low because it's in a village that's in the middle of nowhere. I quoted quite high, what I thought was worth it, and got it. And he said, it's not till 12 o'clock pickup. I went, yeah. I explained. I said, I've just been cancelled, so I'm pretty free. And I said, I'll have a little chill out, and I did. In fact, I didn't have a chill out. I phoned my accountant, had a chat with her for about 30 minutes. I've got 45 minutes to kill. And I went in at 11:45, just let them know I was there. They said, that's all right, you can take it now. We've had all the paperwork come through, and it was going abroad, and it got to go to a shipper who does all the who handles the customs at Colnbrook, which I've been to before, which can be a pain. Now, delivering it was not the pain. The pain was getting to it. The M25 on a Friday, I shouldn't say this word, but it was Fucked. It was carnage. And it's just, they're doing some roadworks. Junction, I can't even tell what junction it is, but you cannot get round it. You've got to get to Colnbrook. And on the maps was, ugh. So what should have took me an hour took me nearly hour and 50 minutes. I phoned the shipper, phoned the customer. The client, they said, everyone's in the same boat. Don't worry about it. It's fine. So I didn't worry about it. And yeah, got to Slough. And by then I thought, you know what, I'm just going to drive out of here and get. And my motorways were knackered all the way up. But yeah, done the job. And that was my week. That was my week. I said, no, that's it, done. It wasn't quite my week because I picked a job up for Monday. I haven't picked it up. I've quoted on a job for Monday tomorrow, actually, obviously, and got it. And it's going up to Barnsley, picking up Northampton. It's not an early start, quite a nice start. It's got to be in Barnsley for 12, so that's fine. So all in all, a really good week. Really good. Done lots of miles though. Lots of miles. I normally average between 12 and 1500. This week I did 1720. So plenty of miles. My times overall was just over 53 hours. So it was 10 hours and 10 and a half hour days. Of that, it was 40 hours driving. A lot of driving this week, but my pre-tax money was 1149, and with that works out at 1378.80. You take off 10%, which is 137.88, and it brings you down to £1,240.92p. That's obviously you've got to take out your fuel and everything else, blah 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 that, and it works out at 80 pence every mile I did. Every single mile from my house to my house was 80p. So not too shabby. Yeah, busy week though. Quite tired. And yesterday we took the top of the bulkhead out, the top half. We always intend to take all the bulkhead out, but the bottom half it's got really good strength still. It's held by 6 bolts. We had to get some pop rivets out. Oh my god, 6 of them. I couldn't get them out, but Steve, my son-in-law, could. So all good. The top half's out, the flag's across, and it's all good. So hope you're all having a good week. Please like and subscribe. I've been waffling on for 28 minutes. Jesus. So, speak next week. I'll probably do a little video about the bulkhead, how it came out. Try and do a photo of it and show you. But yeah, it's all good. It will let the air go in the back, and I got my flags up across it, and it looks smart, and I prefer it like that. It means there's a little bit of light comes in, and also the heat from the front of the van goes into the back, makes tramping a lot more acceptable. So, speak next week. Happy St George's Day.